What if our most urgent task is not to make new things, but to learn to see differently? To perceive the world not as a collection of inert objects, but as a dynamic, sculptural process in which we ourselves are being shaped. Last time, we explored how new materialism grants agency to matter. Today, we dive deeper into a related but distinct frontier, the sculptural gaze. This isn't about statues. It's a mode of perception and creation that treats reality itself as a continuous, collaborating mode of forces, human and non-human, organic and technological, conscious and mineral. We live in an age of hyper-acceleration, yet also of profound ecological and cognitive paralysis. Contemporary art, I argue, is responding not with more spectacle, but with what I call slow agencies and deep material literacy. Let's explore how. 1. From objects to forces, the philosophy of a sculpted world. To grasp this shift, we need two philosophical companions beyond the new materialist we have discussed. First, Edward Glissant, a Caribbean poet and thinker. He proposed the concept of relation, a world not of separate objects, but of purposeful creolization, where identities and forms are always emerging from entanglement. For Glissant, opacity, the right of something to not be fully known is sacred. This respect for the unknown verbal within matter is crucial. Second, Timothy Morton's idea of hyperobjects. Entities like climate change, nuclear waste, or the internet are so vast in time and space that they distort our very perception of reality. We can't see them directly, only their effects. They sculpt us, our politics, our body, our fears from inside out. This framework moves us beyond vibrant matter to sculpting forces. Reality is less a noun and more a verb, a constant being made through collisions of geological time, biological desire, economic flows, and digital code. The question for the artist becomes, how do I make these forming and deforming processes sensible? 2. The artist, choreographers of matter and time. Let's look at artists who enact this sculptural gaze, working as mediators of these vast, often invisible forces. 1. Thomas Saraceno, weaving atmosphere. Saraceno doesn't make sculptures. He designs speculative ecosystems. His Aerosyn project involves solar-powered balloons that fly with zero fossil fuels, lifted only by the sun's heat and air current. But his most profound work is with spiders. In hybrid webs, he creates environments where different spider species co-weave hybrid architectures. He then uses lasers and sound to map these three-dimensional webs, making their intricate vibration audible and visible. Where sculpture is not an object, it's a relational field, a co-creation between erogenous intelligence, air movement, dust particles, and human observation. Saraceno positions the artist as a humble apprentice to non-human builders, revealing a cosmos already rich with sophisticated, invisible design. 2. Rebecca Belmore, The Politics of Embodied Matter, an unishable artist from Canada. Belmore works with materials that carry traumatic history and resistant presence. In her performance and installation, Fringe, she depicts a woman lying on her side, a long, deep scar along her back, from which red glass beads cascade like blood, or a ceremonial fringe. The work speaks to violence against indigenous women and land, but materially, it operates on a deeper level. The beads, the clay, the blankets she often uses. They are not symbols, they are witnesses and conductors. They hold memory in their physicality. Her art performs a sculptural gaze by slowing the body and the land as the same contested territory, sculpted by colonialism but also resisting through persistent material presence. The sculpture is the wound and the healing simultaneously. Olafur Eliasson, Engineering Perception. Eliasson is famous for immersive environments like the Weather Project, but his deeper project is to make us aware of the construction of our own sensing. In Your Blind Passenger, he fills a corridor with dense fog. Vision reduces to a few feet. You become acutely aware of your body moving, of others as shadows, of moisture on your skin. He sculpts not stone, but the medium of perception itself. His work demonstrates that reality is a negotiation between environment conditions and our neurological processing. In an age of digital filter and personalized algorithms, Eliasson's physical phenomenological interventions remind us to sense is already to interpret, and to interpret is to shape the world. Cosmic and microscopic sculptors, Katie Patterson and Lillian Bow. Katie Patterson works with geological and cosmic time. In Future Library, she planted a forest in Norway that will supply paper for an anthology of books to be printed in 100 years. Writers contribute manuscripts held in trust, unseen. The sculpture is the growing forest, the waiting, the entanglement of ecology, literature, and the deep time. Lillian Bow, in her Waterwash series, creates functional wetland sculptures that filter polluted runoff, merging public art, ecology, and infrastructure. The art is the changing water quality, the returning wildlife, the community stewardship. The sculpture is a restorative process, its form involving with the seasons and the health of the watershed. Why this matter? The Sculptural Gaze as survival toolkit. This art is not decorative. It's epistemological and ecological training. For the climate crisis, beyond sustainability. Sustainability often implies managing a stable system, but we are in a chaotic sculptural unfolding. Arts like Peterson's or Bow's trains us to think in multi-scholar time, to feel the pulse of a tree growing for a century and the immediate filter of a wetland. It moves us from guise-based conservation to an effect of attuned participation. We are not saving a static nature. We are learning to dance with volatile, living forces. For the digital age, re-embodying knowledge. Our lives are increasingly shaped by invisible algorithms, digital hyperobjects that sculpt our desire, opinions, and social bonds. Artists like Elliot Song and Sarah Seno offer counter experiences. They reground us in the tactile, the atmospheric, the slow, and the biologically complex. They remind us that data is always of the physical world, of minerals mined for servers, of human attention metabolized into capital. Their art rebuilds our capacity for analog attention, a critical resistance to digital commodification of consciousness. Third, for healing historical trauma, matter as memory. As seen in Belmore's work, the sculptural gaze can approach materials as archive of violence and resilience. This isn't about representing history, but about activating its material residue. The land, the body, the inherited object. Art becomes a space for a different kind of encounter with the past, one that is felt sensorially and can first open possibilities for repair that pure discourse cannot. Conclusion: becoming a apprentice. Becoming a apprentice. The old model of the artist was a solitary genius imposing form on passive matter. The sculptural gaze proposed a new model: the artist as apprentice, mediator, and cultivator. We are all always being sculpted by the food we eat, the air we breathe, the stories we ingest, the codes that track us. The art we have explored today doesn't pretend to escape this. Instead, it seeks to make the process visible, slow it down, and invite our conscious, ethical participation. So, I leave you with an invitation. Practice the sculptural gaze. Look at the skin before you. See it not as a window, but as a geological event. Mined rare earths, fossil fluid energy, layers of cold, the heat it emits, the attention it pulls. You are not just looking at it. You and it are in a reciprocal shaping. The art of our time asks us to take responsibility for that shaping to become, with humility and courage, co-sculptors of a world that is desperately alive, fragile, and waiting for our thoughtful touch. Thanks for listening. If you intrigued by these ideas of deep material entanglement, I recommend the writings of philosopher Donald Haraway on staying with the trouble. In our next discussion, we could delve into xenofeminism and post-human art. Let me know your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the ideas shaping contemporary art. See you next time. Fragile. 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 Frail. Fragile. Frail.